Dawn. 77 men stand in a line, only farmers, holding muskets. Across from them, 700 British soldiers. Nobody moves. Then, a single shot. Nobody knows who fired it. The British open fire. Smoke. Screaming. The farmers scatter. 8 dead in minutes. After that, the British march 7 miles to Concord. Their mission: destroy hidden weapons. The British search the town. Burn supplies. Smoke rises. The militia thinks they're burning down Concord. But word spreads fast. 400 militia wait at Northbridge. The British fire first. The militia fires back. The British retreat. Now the British is running for Boston. 16 miles back to Boston. 16 miles of hell. By afternoon, thousands more join the fight against the British. By nightfall, 73 British dead. Most colonial uprisings get crushed. This one lit a spark. The idea of independence, the start of the Revolutionary War. But how did we get here? To understand, we go back to 1760. What you'll see is reconstructed using AI from paintings, drawings, and historical records. 13 separate colonies along the eastern coast of North America. Over 1.5 million people. English, Scots-Irish, German, Dutch, African. But despite this mix of backgrounds, they share one identity: British subjects. October 1760. News arrives from London. King George II is dead, 76 years old. Died on his closed stool, his toilet, from a burst artery. His 22-year-old grandson now sits on the throne. The colonies celebrate. Church bells ring. Taverns toast the new king. Portraits of George III go up in homes and shops across the colonies. They read London newspapers, wear English fashions, follow British law. When war comes with France, they fight as British soldiers. They call themselves Virginians, New Yorkers, Pennsylvanians. But above all, they're subjects of the crown. The word American? Not something they use for themselves. And in 1760, there's no reason to think that will ever change. But being British is the only thing these colonies have in common. Everything else divides them. New England. They fish, build ships, trade. Puritan churches dominate. Town meetings decide local affairs. Small farms. Tight-knit communities. Focused on education and strict religion. The middle colonies, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Merchants and traders. Germans, Dutch, Quakers, a mix of everyone. Tolerant of different religions because they have no choice. They have Philadelphia, the largest city in the colonies, a booming center of commerce. The South, Virginia, the Carolinas, Georgia. Massive tobacco and rice plantations. Enslaved Africans outnumber whites in some counties. An aristocracy of wealthy planters living like English lords, ruling over a hierarchy that barely resembles life up north. Their economies feed each other. Northern ships carry southern tobacco to middle colony ports for export, but they still don't see themselves as one people. Northerners think Southerners are lazy aristocrats. Southerners think Northerners are meddling fanatics. Both think the middle colonies are too tolerant, too chaotic. Nothing in 1760 suggests they'll ever work together. Nothing points to unity. If anything, they're drifting further apart. 6 years earlier, they were tested and stayed divided. 1754, the French are moving south from Canada, building forts in the Ohio Valley. War is coming. The British call a congress in Albany. 7 colonies send delegates. Benjamin Franklin proposes a union, one colonial government, shared defense. Join or die, his cartoon says. The delegates approve it. Then they go home. But every single colonial assembly rejects it. They'd rather face the French alone
This is a betrayal of the highest order!
than share power with each other.
So it ends in absurdity. Indeed, we are undone.
These colonies will never unite. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Now, in 1760, they have prosperity. The colonists have the highest income in the Western world. Land is cheap, food is abundant. Most families own property, and their taxes, the lowest anywhere. Colonists pay 1 to 1.5%. In Britain, 5 to 7%. They're protected by the most powerful navy on Earth. British warships guard their coasts. British soldiers defend their frontiers. A colonist in 1760 lives better than most people in Britain itself. Better than almost anyone in Europe. They know it. Everything they have, their prosperity, their security, their freedom to build these separate little worlds, all of it exists because of Britain. The British Empire makes it possible. And in 1760, they're grateful for it. But gratitude doesn't last forever. 1763. The French and Indian War is over. 9 years of fighting. Britain wins. France is gone. Britain now controls almost everything east of the Mississippi River. The colonies celebrate their victory. But victory came at a price. Britain's national debt skyrockets to £122 million. Interest alone is over £4 million per year. That's 10 times more than all 13 colonies combined pay in taxes in a year, just to pay the interest. The British look at the colonies, rich, prosperous, protected by British troops during the war, paying almost no taxes. Parliament decides the colonies should help pay for their own defence. It seems reasonable. The year 1765, the Stamp Act, a tax on paper, newspapers, legal documents, playing cards. To the British, it's a modest tax. But it's the first time Parliament has ever directly taxed the colonists. The reaction is instant. No taxation without representation. Mobs in Boston hang tax collectors in effigy. Colonial assemblies pass resolutions of protest. Merchants organise boycotts. Parliament, shocked, repeals the tax. But they also pass the Declaratory Act. Parliament has the right to tax the colonies in all cases whatsoever.
To bind the colonies in America and levy such charges it deems necessary in all cases.
The message is clear. We back down this time, but we can tax you. The year 1767. New taxes, the Townshend Acts, taxes on glass, paint, paper, tea. More protests, more boycotts. Britain sends troops to Boston to enforce the new taxes. A crowd surrounds British soldiers, throwing snowballs, rocks, insults. Someone fires. 5 colonists dead in the snow. They call it the Boston Massacre. Paul Revere's engraving of the shooting we have seen here spreads across the colonies. British soldiers firing on American colonists. The image makes it impossible to forget. Britain repeals most of the Townshend taxes, except the tea tax, to make a point. The year 1773, Parliament passes the Tea Act. Actually lowers the price of tea, but it's still a tax.
We still need them to pay us.
And the colonists see it for what it is, a trap.
These tea taxes are tyranny. We must all take a stand against the British.
Accept cheap tea, accept Parliament's right to tax. Winter comes around in Boston Harbor. Colonists dressed as Mohawks board 3 ships. 342 chests of tea, all of it dumped into the harbor. The famous Boston Tea Party.
Yes!
Britain has had enough. The year 1774. The Intolerable acts. Boston Harbor, closed. Massachusetts self-government, suspended. British troops stationed in Massachusetts towns. Prime Minister Lord North explains why to the Parliament back in Britain.
The Americans have tarred and feathered your subjects, plundered your merchants, burnt your ships, denied all obedience to your laws and authority. Yet so clement and so long forbearing has our conduct been that it is incumbent on us now to take a different course. Whatever may be the consequences, we must risk something. If we do not, all is over.
The message: Massachusetts will be punished until it submits. But something unexpected happens. The other colonies don't abandon Massachusetts, they rally. September comes around. Carpenter's Hall in Philadelphia. Something is about to happen, something important. 56 delegates from 12 colonies meet the first Continental Congress. They're not talking about independence, not yet, but they're talking.
Decide whether to submit or to stand as free men.
Together, coordinating resistance. For the first time, but not the last. The thing that didn't happen in 1754, colonial unity, is starting to happen now. All the needed was a common enemy.
Let's fight!
Britain sees it too.
We need to make a stand and fight back!
April 1775. British General Thomas Gage receives orders.
Tomorrow, we march to Concord.
Seize the weapons stockpiled by Massachusetts militia. The target, Concord, 20 miles from Boston. On the night of April 18th, 700 British soldiers begin their march. Paul Revere rides ahead.
The regulars are out! The soldiers are coming!
By dawn, militia are gathering. At Lexington Green, at Concord's North Bridge. Nobody knows it yet, but the war has already begun. The day after Lexington and Concord, militia from across New England descend on Boston. Within weeks, 15,000 men surround the city.
Welcome to the regiment. We have been waiting for you.
They're farmers, blacksmiths, shopkeepers. They have muskets, some ammunition, not much else.
We are running out of ammunition.
No uniforms, no training, no organization.
They drown in their own tea.
Britain sends more troops. Now it's an army on both sides. But only one of them is actually an army.
Forward! Keep those legs moving!
Then the British test them. The Battle of Bunker Hill, just north of Boston.
Charge!
The British charge up the hill. Three times. The Americans, mostly farmers, hold them off twice. The third time, the Americans run out of ammunition. They have to retreat. The British take the hill. British casualties, over 1,000. American casualties, 450. These farmers can fight. June 1775. The Second Continental Congress meets in Philadelphia. They need a commander for this army. The room is full of ambitious men. John Hancock wants the job for himself. Others propose experienced officers. Then John Adams of Massachusetts stands.
I had but one gentleman in my mind for that important command. And that was a gentleman from Virginia. And very well known to all of us. A gentleman whose skill and experience as an officer, whose independent fortune, great talents, and excellent universal character would command the approbation of all America and unite the cordial exertions of all the colonies better than any other person in the Union.
He doesn't say the name. Everyone knows who he means. George Washington. War hero from the French and Indian War, wealthy planter, sitting in the room wearing his military uniform. The vote is unanimous. Washington stands. He accepts. But he tells Congress,
I this day declare with the utmost sincerity, I do not think myself equal to the command I am honored with.
he means it, but he goes anyway. This isn't about who's the best general, it's politics. The war is in Massachusetts. The army is in Massachusetts. The anger is in Massachusetts.
Give us back our rights!
But if this stays a New England problem, the other colonies walk away. Washington is from Virginia, the South, the biggest, richest colony. Picking him sends a message. This isn't Massachusetts versus Britain. This is America versus Britain. If Virginia's commander is leading Massachusetts farmers, then Virginia has skin in the game. The South is committed. All 13 colonies. One army, one cause, one commander. Washington rides north to Boston. To take command of an army that barely exists.
It is hoped that all distinctions of colonies will be laid aside, so that one and the same spirit may animate the whole, and the only contest be who shall re-render, on this great and trying occasion, the most essential service to the great and common cause in which we are all engaged.
The problem is obvious. Washington is facing the most powerful military on Earth. The British have professional soldiers trained for years.
Look at this slovenly work!
The world's strongest navy. Unlimited money. Supply lines across the Atlantic. Experience conquering half the globe. The Americans have farmers with guns. No navy. No money. No uniforms. No experience. It's not a fair fight. It's not even close. But Washington understands something the British don't. He doesn't have to win, he just has to not lose. Keep the army alive. Stay in the field. Make it cost too much. Make it take too long. Make them give up. Survival isn't just a strategy, it's the only strategy. The war drags on through 1775 and into 1776. Skirmishes, raids, standoffs. No one's winning decisively. But the colonies are splitting, not just from Britain, from each other. Loyalists versus Patriots. Neighbours, families, brothers. If you support the rebellion, Patriot. If you support the king, Loyalist. There's no middle ground anymore. In some towns, Loyalists pack up and leave. In others, Patriots are driven out. Sons refuse to speak to fathers. Brothers take opposite sides.
You will swear loyalty to the king! Get out of my sight!
This isn't just America versus Britain. It's Americans versus Americans. A civil war inside a revolution.
Peace!
June 1776. A year into the war, Congress makes a decision.
Then it is done.
They appoint 5 men to draft a declaration. Jefferson, Adams, Franklin, Sherman, Livingston. The Committee of 5. Jefferson writes it. Adams and Franklin edit it. Congress debates every word.
Absolutely. It is too vague for a legal instrument.
I will cross it out immediately.
July 4th, 1776. Philadelphia. The Continental Congress votes. The Declaration of Independence. Subjectively, to me, one of the most beautiful statements are created in the birth of a new country.
We hold these truths to be self-evident,
That all men are created equal. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
It makes it official. No compromise, no negotiation, no going back. They're not fighting for better treatment anymore. They're fighting for independence. Which means if they lose now, they're not just rebels, they're traitors. And traitors hang. That's the deal they just made, on paper. Now comes the hard part. Because the British don't care about their declaration. They care about crushing the rebellion. And they're coming with everything they have. August 27th, 1776, Long Island. The British Army hits Washington with everything. 32,000 troops, the largest expeditionary force Britain has ever sent abroad. The Americans? Maybe 19,000. Most of them have never seen real combat. The British flank Washington, trap him, slaughter him. American casualties, 2,000 men, killed, wounded, captured. British casualties, 400. It's a massacre. Washington evacuates overnight. 9,000 men rowed across the East River in the dark. Fog rolls in at dawn, covering the last boats. Eyewitnesses say Washington was the last man to leave Brooklyn. He escapes, barely. The British take New York. Washington retreats through New Jersey. His army is falling apart, deserting, freezing, dying. Thomas Paine, the man who wrote Common Sense, that framed the Patriot argument for independence, he writes one more pamphlet.
These are the times that try men's souls.
It spreads through the camps. Soldiers read it. Some stay. December 1776. The revolution is dying. Washington has maybe 2,400 men left. Their enlistments expire in 6 days. If they leave, there's no army, no revolution. Washington makes a decision. One last throw of the dice. Christmas night. He's going to cross the Delaware River and attack Trenton. Trenton is held by Hessians, German mercenaries. Britain hired 30,000 of them. Professional soldiers. They're terrifying.
Washington is crazy. He wants us to cross this river in the winter?
His officers think he's crazy. The river is frozen. There's a storm. It's suicide.
It is our last chance.
Washington writes the password for the attack.
Victory or death.
He crosses. Not in a very glorious way. Ice chunks in the river, wind, rain, snow, hail. It takes all night. They're hours behind schedule. Dawn, December 26th. Washington's frozen, exhausted men march 9 miles to Trenton. 8 a.m., they attack. The battle lasts 90 minutes. The Hessians are caught completely by surprise. American casualties, 2 killed from cold, 5 wounded in battle. Hessian casualties, 22 killed, 83 wounded, 900 captured. The Americans win. It's not a big battle, but it's the first real victory in months. It proves they can still fight. It proves Washington can still lead. Soldiers re-enlist. New recruits sign up. The revolution survives. The war drags on up till October 1777. The war is 2.5 years old. The British have taken Philadelphia, the American capital. Washington's army keeps losing. Congress is quietly asking if maybe someone else should be in command. Some are starting to wonder if this was ever winnable at all.
We cannot give up. If we surrender now, we surrender everything we have fought for.
Then comes Saratoga. General Burgoyne marches 8,000 British troops down from Canada. His plan, cut the colonies in half.
We must cut off New England from the middle and southern colonies.
Separate New England from the south.
I will end this war!
The Americans under General Gates stop him cold. 2 battles, 3 weeks. October 17th, 1777.
I offer my sword and my surrender, sir.
Burgoyne surrenders. 6,000 British and Hessian soldiers stack their weapons on the banks of the Hudson River. It's the first time an entire British army has ever surrendered in the field. Ever.
Monsieur, une lettre arrive d'Amérique.
Word reaches Paris.
Très bien, merci.
King Louis XVI has been watching this war.
C'est une victoire magnifique!
France lost everything to Britain 20 years ago.
Mais jamais!
The French and Indian War. They've been waiting for a moment like this. Proof that the Americans can actually win.
Les Américains tombent pour ne battre les Britanniques. C'est le moment d'y agir.
Saratoga is that proof. France officially enters the war as an American ally. Ships, troops, money. Britain is no longer fighting farmers, they're fighting France.
Vivi nos alliances!
But while diplomats celebrate in Paris, the army is dying in Pennsylvania. Valley Forge, December 1777. 12,000 men march into an empty field. No shelter, no food. Hundreds without shoes. Washington writes to Congress, nearly 3,000 men are unfit for duty because they are barefoot and otherwise naked. By spring, roughly 2,000 will be dead. Not from battle, from disease. And then someone arrives. Baron Friedrich von Steuben, Prussian officer, veteran of Frederick the Great's army. He speaks almost no English.
Diese Disziplin ist ein Witz. Ich habe keine Soldaten, ich habe Affen. Ihr seid schreckliche
He
Soldaten.
drills the men anyway.
Kaputt! Alles kaputt!
Bayonet techniques. Formations, how to march, reload, and maneuver like a professional army.
Beweg dich! Wir haben keine Zeit für euer
He
Schwach.
screams instructions in German and French.
Kaut euch an! Ein Schandweg der Disziplin! The Prussian general is directing us to hold this line. We cannot fail him.
And has them translated mid-drill.
Fight for your wives. Fight for your children.
The army that marches out of Valley Forge in June 1778 is not the same army that marched in. It's something new, something dangerous. The turn has happened. They just don't know it yet. June 28th, 1778. Battle of Monmouth, New Jersey. The Continental Army, Washington's army, meets the British in open field. And they don't break. They hold the line. They reload under fire. They use the bayonet. Everything von Steuben drilled into them at Valley Forge. They fight the British to a standstill. The British retreat that night. The turn was real. And the British know it. They can't win in the north anymore, so they shift. New strategy, take the south. They think the Loyalists down there will rise up and help them finish this.
Redcoats will make short work of the rebels down south.
December 1778, Savannah falls. May 1780, Charleston falls. 5,000 Continental soldiers captured. It's the worst American defeat of the entire war. It looks like the British plan is working, but the South doesn't fold. Frontier militias hit back.
We cannot hold the line alone against their regulars. Then what do we do, Captain?
Kings Mountain, October 1780. They massacre a British Allied Loyalist force. Cowpens, January 1781. Daniel Morgan outsmarts the British. Brilliant victory. And Nathaniel Greene, Washington's best general. He's in the South now. Guilford Courthouse, March 1781. Greene loses the battle.
Keep your head up, son.
But the British are so bloodied, so exhausted,
Give up or we will all die.
they retreat. Every British victory costs them men they can't replace. Every American loss, they come back. Cornwallis retreats to the coast. Yorktown, Virginia. He's waiting for the British Navy to evacuate him. But the French fleet arrives first.
It's the bloody French coming.
Washington marches south with the Continental Army and French troops. They surround Yorktown. Dig trenches. bring up siege guns, pound the British positions day and night. Cornwallis is trapped. October 19, 1781, he surrenders. 8,000 British soldiers lay down their weapons. The war is effectively over, but no one signs anything for 2 more years. The British still hold New York, Charleston, Savannah. Their armies sit in American cities.
I suppose we are just waiting for Parliament to decide if they ever actually do anything.
Waiting for orders from London. Those orders take time.
Retreat is the only sensible option to save what remains of our honor.
Because back in Britain, everything has changed. When news of Yorktown reaches London in November 1781,
My money, you expect me to pay for this folly?
Aye, and they call us the masters.
the British public turns against the war. Parliament debates, the King resists. But by March 1782, Parliament votes to end offensive operations in America. It's over. They just need to make it official. Peace negotiations begin in Paris in April 1782. The Americans send Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and John Jay.
The air here tastes of garlic and revolution.
The British send representatives. The French are there. The Spanish. Everyone wants something. It takes 18 months. September 3rd, 1783. The Treaty of Paris is signed. Britain recognizes the independence of the United States of America. The borders, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mississippi River, from the Great Lakes to Florida. 13 colonies become a nation. But now comes the hard part. Figuring out what kind of nation they're going to be. The last British soldiers sail out of New York Harbor on November 25th, 1783. Washington rides into the city that same day, 7 years after he fled it. A few weeks later, he travels to Annapolis, Maryland, where Congress is meeting. On December 23rd, 1783, he walks into a small room packed with congressmen and spectators. He pulls out a short speech. His hands are shaking.
Mr. President, the great events on which my resignation depend, having at length taken place, I have now the honor of offering my sincere congratulations to Congress and of presenting myself before them to surrender into their hands the trust committed to me. Having now finished the work assigned me, I retire from the great theater of action, and bidding an affectionate farewell to this august body, under whose orders I have so long acted, I here offer my commission and take my leave of all the employments of public life.
He's been Commander-in-Chief for 8.5 years. He's led this army through disaster after disaster, held it together when it had no reason to exist, and somehow brought it to victory. And now he's giving it all back. He resigns his commission. He hands over his military authority to Congress. In Europe, this is unthinkable. Victorious generals become dictators. They seize power. Washington goes home to Mount Vernon. It's the greatest act of his life. Not winning the war, walking away from power. King George III, when he hears about it, says if Washington really does this, he will be the greatest man in the world. Winning the war turns out to be the easy part.
It's over.
The 13 states are barely a country. They're held together by the Articles of Confederation, which gives Congress almost no power. Congress can't tax, can't regulate trade, can't enforce laws. Each state acts like its own nation.
We have little left after the toll.
They print their own money, they tax each other's goods. They ignore treaties. In Massachusetts, farmers revolt because they're drowning in debt.
No more unjust taxes!
Congress can't even raise an army to stop them.
But worse still, we cannot raise an army.
By 1787, everyone knows this isn't working.
This don't work.
Delegates gather in Philadelphia, the same room where they declared independence 11 years earlier, to fix the Articles. They end up scrapping the whole thing. They write a new constitution, a framework for an actual government. 3 branches, separation of powers, a federal system that balances state and national authority. It's a radical experiment. No one's ever done this before.
But hard to imagine.
Most of the world is ruled by kings and emperors. The Constitution is ratified in 1788. The new government needs a president. Everyone knows who it has to be. On April 30th, 1789, George Washington takes the oath of office as the first president of the United States. He's 57 years old. He didn't want the job, but he takes it anyway. The war is won. The nation is born.